And good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner on Tuesday, the 30th of November, the last day of the month. Tomorrow we start December, the Christmas season. And let's just hope we do have a Christmas season because it's all looking a little bit wobbly, isn't it, Paul?
Yes, it is looking a little bit wobbly, but I'm pretty optimistic this time around that the virus will prove to be like the others, such that we won't have to do any extraordinary measures again, I think.
Well, at the end of the day, you just got to live with this. It's not going away, just as the way colds and flu, which are also coronaviruses, we've just learned to live with. And I have a little bit of a cold at the moment because I think there's a bit of that going around. So I'm actually working from home again today. Because I don't want to give it to everybody else in the office, and that's when working from home is acceptable. Anyway, let's move on to mining, and why don't we start off with a client of VSA Capital, which is, and I always pronounce it wrong, but Guanajuato Silver.
Yes, it is Guanajuato Silver, the TSX listed silver developer in Mexico. They made a progress update report late yesterday on the ramp up to full production at the El Cubo mine. They have 450 tons per day coming from underground stopes, while a further 450 tons a day is coming from the stockpile of mine dump material from the El Pinguico mine, about 7 kilometers away, that they had stockpiled at the mill in preparation for this. They made a second shipment of concentrates, which yielded about $750,000 in revenue. And they've got a third larger shipment coming out of the mine from this week. So all the indications are the ramp up is going pretty smoothly here at this point.
And of course, they are in a publicly announced fundraising at the moment, which I believe is going very well.
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
Yeah, so great situation. On the TSX at the moment, obviously a lot of these TSX companies, we're very keen to try and get dual listed on the Aquis Stock Exchange so that people in London can also enjoy the success and the rising share prices you see with these companies. Moving on, but back to AIM, we've had Q3 results from Macango Resources, which obviously is a Shanghai Mining Club client.
Yes, that's right. Nothing particularly new here, although a lot of nice detail in the statements on the discussion and analysis. They are dual listed, so they're required to put out this paperwork to large extent. At the end of September, they had about $6.25 million in cash available, which is up about 2 million or $1.25 million, excuse me, from December 31st of 2020. So that's fairly healthy there. They had also earlier announced that they were still planning to try to hit this target of the feasibility study completion of Q1 2022 on the Songwe Hill rare earth mine down in Malawi, although they're still hesitant on whether COVID might put some delays into that story. But so far, they're going to hold to the end of Q1 at this point. And post-period end on November the 3rd, they had announced that they'd increased their ownership in the magnet recycling tech firm Hypromag to 41.6% by putting in a bit of additional cash. Otherwise, have a good look at the press release on their website because it pretty much is a summary of all the things they talked about during the year.
Yep. Okay. And then we also got today Hochschild Mining. They're making a sort of $164 million acquisition of Amarillo Gold, aren't they?
Yes, they are. That's some news in M&A going on here at this point. Amarillo Gold, they have the Posse Gold project on their Mara Rosa property in Goiás state of Brazil, which they are in development on as a gold project. And Hochschild otherwise has a number of different operations throughout the Americas, and they're also stepping up into places like northern BC as well in recent times. So that deal, $164.5 million, is a premium of 66% over the 20-day trading volume average weighted price for Amarillo. And Hochschild also summarized that they plan to produce about 32 million ounces of silver equivalent at a cost of $13 per silver equivalent ounce this year. But I have to say that picking up Amarillo and these deals that they've done recently, like with Skeena Resources up in northern BC, would suggest that they're trying to really bulk up on the gold side of their story going forward.
Yeah, I think M&A, I've been saying for some time, M&A activity should get bigger and bigger in this space. Now, look, it's worth mentioning also ASX listed, although again, another one which I'd love to bring to the Aquis market in London is Vulcan Energy, which has a German lithium brine project. But it's a big project, isn't it? But they've announced an offtake agreement, haven't they?
Yes, they have another offtake agreement agreed by Vulcan Energy, this time with the battery chemicals producer supplier in Europe, Stellantis. It's a 3-year deal where Vulcan is offering to contribute 81,000 tons of chemical for their battery plants that Stellantis is supplying to within Europe. So it's just solidifying this supply chain of chemistry for the battery plants being built and expanded here.
I think the thing about Vulcan that people should, I mean, it's quite a similar sort of chemistry, should we say, isn't it, Paul, to Cornish lithium?
Yes, it is. They're looking for the same, it's the same source, which is geothermal brine, not in the same country, of course, with Cornish in UK and the Vulcan brines are in Germany, but it is the same kind of a business model, yes.
Yeah, but Vulcan's got a much bigger resource, isn't it?
It is quite a lot bigger resource, yes, and it's also pre-developed already for geothermal production. So now it's just a question of stripping out some of the chemistry which is in these brines which are already being produced.
Should Vulcan buy Cornish lithium?
Should what?
Vulcan buy Cornish lithium?
I would be hesitant on that yet at this point. Cornish lithium still needs to prove that they have a viable reservoir, so we'll see.
Yeah, interesting. And finally, unless you've got anything you're desperate to talk about, Paul, I noticed that the government of Singapore, it's been buying more gold for its reserves, hasn't it?
Yes, they have. Singapore has stepped into the acquisition side of gold bullion here for the first time in about 20 years, picking up some more bullion in the marketplace. So they're one of the central banks which essentially is in the addition mode here this year, whereas many central banks have otherwise been selling down a little bit in their gold holdings to this point.
Yep. Okay, I think we'll call it a day there, Paul, and speak again tomorrow.
Very good. See you then.